She's had 3 previous marriages, every one of which has ended with her spouse dying.
Well, we have motive now.
Oh my god. Lucy, we need to locate into the murder weapon. I'm not sure it's match the size and shape of the victim's wound.
If he had struggled, there would be more wound.
Over defense crap.
So it was obviously broken from outside the balcony.
The loud noise would have alerted everyone to the intrusion.
But there's glass on top of the body. So there's no way that the window was broken before the body was killed.
It has to be the light.
So we finished our investigation.
Prof, are you sure about letting her go like that?
They weren't going to reach a conclusion like that. She knows that we suspect her.
Sorry, Prof, that's my fault. I got a bit head up.
Don't apologize. We all get worked up sometimes. Anyway, I'm quite certain. Now, wow, okay.
That
Let
she
me
is
try
the...
that again.
No, you can't try it again. You were so close to being... You were close to being done. I thought you were just gonna read it.
I'm quite certain that she's the culprit. That was how it ended.
Aye, likewise. You can tell she's hiding somewhat by the way she has quit to get Marty.
She's so British.
I'm convinced she hid the murder weapon somewhere in the room after she killed her husband.
I'm waiting now. It's an attempt for it to not be so laggy.
She wouldn't have had time to dispose of it outside before the caretaker arrived. Then she arranged the scene to look like an intruder broke in from outside. However, there's an inconsistency between the course of events she describes and the scene she set up.
Is there?
Yes, it's the inconsistency we pointed out.
It's the first thing I noticed.
I know.
There's no such thing as a perfect lie, Lucy. The murder weapon is somewhere at the scene of the crime, without question.
Well, if we can find it, we'll blast a whopping great hole in that double-barreled bimbo story.
Language, Lucy, jeez.
There are 2 issues. The murder weapon and the way she set the scene to make it look like a break-in.
Right, okay.
Decisive evidence or the murder weapon? What would you like to investigate first?
Decisive evidence.
We should probably get the thing that we know out of the way.
We need to locate some irrefutable proof that shows Potsby-Mann's statement to be false.
I hear you, Prof.
Start investigating! What evidence belies her statement? Well, let's get this over with. It's the glass.
It is definitely the glass.
Let's get to the part, like, we don't know what the murder weapon is. Oh, wait, no, I meant to press this as the evidence. No, come back. Okay.
Yep. What about this, Prof? This could be it.
The broken glass. Which statement would that be inconsistent with?
I heard the window shattering, then I heard my husband scream. That statement. That's the one it's inconsistent with. Yes! Okay. Bam! He's got a Phoenix Wright point.
You've got it!
Now you sound like... The way you said that was like one of those educational games. You've got it!
I've got it!
Yes, the broken glass is quite clearly inconsistent with that statement.
We backed Potsby-Mann into a corner now. This proves she's been lying.
Of course. We appreciate what the inconsistency is exactly, don't you?
Aye, the bits of broken glass are on top of the body, not underneath it. That's all wrong.
Precisely.
You sound so done.
This puts pay to the idea that an intruder broke in via the window and killed Potsby. Well spotted, Lucy.
Now onto the thing we haven't figured out. The murder weapon. Do you have any idea what this could be?
Let's see if we can find the murder weapon the suspect used. She must have hidden it somewhere here. Judging by the shape of the victim's wound, we're looking for something long and thin.
Long and thin? Right, I'll get looking.
And I like the story enough that I'm okay with it. Hunt out the murder weapon. Okay, where do you think something small and thin could be? Where should we look?
The closet's a good start,
Okay,
considering it was when we looked at it the first time, it was a jumbled mess.
this is the weapon. Let's see what happens. This is the weapon.
This perhaps?
No, because it's not looking, okay.
I don't think so. No, think again, Lucy. A little harder.
He looks so, you're doing, by the way, your voice for him is so perfect. I love your voice for him.
It's just my normal voice.
I know, but but the way you're inflicting on him is, it's a kind voice that is just, like, he knows a lot and he's just doing it. Maybe there's something in the bathroom trash can?
Yeah, what was with the crumpled paper? That seemed a little...
Maybe this is the weapon? No, this is the wrong thing. We don't need to read this, we've read it already. Try a little harder.
The toilet was the weapon.
The toilet was, the toilet was, this is the weapon. This is clearly the weapon. No, it was a good try. Okay. Anyway. No,
No,
not,
Lucy.
it wouldn't
You're
be-
not even using your brain at this point.
Oh, come on, Prof! I don't know, it's not the knives, it's not, it's like someone starts, it's a waste of time.
Let's try looking at the knives again.
looking at, look at the spoons. Is there anything in the trash
There's
can?
no spoons.
I think it's interesting that the knives look brand new. No.
Exactly.
Wait. Hold on. I have an idea. I have an idea. What about the clock hand? It's long and thin.
You could try, I guess.
Ah, different text. This clock's got me thinking, Prof.
Better have a closer look at them, Lucy. You might be onto something.
Ah, maybe I'm right.
Examine the clock in detail.
A highly poshed and heavy-looking pendulum. Well, if he got hit over the head, I'd think it was the pendulum. I mean, but that
He was stabbed, so it might be the hands?
it might be the hands. It might be the clock hands. A thick glass cover that protects the clock face and pendulum. It appears to open and close. It opens and closes, so you could take out the hand. The metal hands of the clock. The long minute hand is slightly bent at the tip. Ooh.
I've had a chance to examine the clock in detail now.
Aye.
And what do you think? Is there any way it could have been used as a murder weapon at all?
Well, the clock hands.
Stab him with a toilet.
Stab him with the toilet.
No, yeah, obviously. They took the glass case and they smashed the killer suplexed the thing and smashed it into his neck. And the glass broke, and that's a new glass cover.
No, it's the hands.
Yes, the hand.
It's long and thin, all right, and pretty sharp, too.
If you look closely, you'll notice it's also slightly bent.
Aye, there's every chance in this. This is what we're used to do the fellow in.
I agree.
Which means the murder weapon were in the room right from the start.
And having committed the crime, the perpetrator hid it on the premises. In other words, the culprit was in the flat before, during, and after the crime. An excellent find, Lucy.
I'm that chuffed.
As Princess to go over the clock hand again, would you? If it really was a murder weapon, they should probably be able to find traces of Potsby's blood on it.
Will do.
The minute hand is slightly crooked.
That's everything. We've tied up all the loose ends, haven't we?
Yes, in theory at least.
How do you mean?
Not quite good enough to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Potsby-Mann was responsible.
Why do you say that?
Never mind. Why don't you call our suspect and then we'll take it from there? This time, we'll get her to tell us the truth, whether she likes it or not.
I can't wait. I can't wait. There we go.
Here comes the intense music, which you can't hear. Here we go.
Oh my! Keep your furry friend under control.
Excuse me, sir. Lucy, I wouldn't use that. You don't know.
Well, I do declare. My furry friend, as you put it, does have a name, Miss Baker. Bingo. But I call him Bing.
And Bingo was his name. Oh.
Oh.
Did you just catch that his name was Bingo?
No, I did.
Oh, that's me. It's not you. Well, I can't say I approve of the color, but I hope that chain's a good one.
At the risk of repeating myself, Miss Potsby-Mann, would you mind,
Yes, I know. Bing, go wait for me in the car, boy. The trunk's open.
The trunk?
Oh my God.
The trunk? You don't keep your dog in the trunk?
I am sure the good inspector will not be keeping me long.
I can bark like a dog.
Now, whatever affairs we still have to discuss, Inspector, I trust we can do so quickly. I always go to the park with Bing around this time of day.
Is he your boyfriend or your dog? Because there should be two differences between those two. He can't be both.
That's just weird.
Yes!
Don't worry, Miss Potsby-Mann. I'm fairly sure this will be the last time we meet. So what exactly requires my attention now, may I ask? I assume you finally concluded that it was the outlaw who murdered my husband.
On the contrary, we are now quite certain Mr. Nix is completely innocent in this matter. Cast your mind back to our previous conversation. We established that the victim was...
Stabbed from the back.
The victim was stabbed from behind without warning. He was caught completely unawares. Mr. Potsby had no idea what were coming. There were no way Nix could have done that if he came in through the way you described. I have already told you more than once, Jack was inclined to sleep while watching the television.
Of course, we cannot deny the possibility that your husband was indeed asleep at the time. However, if that were truly the case, it would be at odds with something else that happened. In other words...
One suggests that the victim couldn't have been dozing off when attacked. Wait, the window was smashed, right? It's the window was smashed.
Yes.
Because he would have heard that and woken up, right?
Exactly.
Good, okay. I was like, it is right.
Because the window was shattered. All the glass breaking would have made it right then and no mistake. No one could have slipped through that. There's no way Mr. Potsby wouldn't have opened up. I do declare, you are slow as a snail sometimes, Miss Baker. My husband was quite exhausted that day. Why, he was sleeping like a log. Even the clatter of the window breaking would surely not have roused him. Well, there's not much more to be said on that front then, I suppose. Only when that outlaw drove his knife into my poor husband's back did he wake with a spine-chilling scream.
And it was on hearing that scream that you ran out of the bathroom to see what was happening?
That is correct. My husband's sudden arrival scared the outlaw away before he could steal even a bitty bit. I know it was the thief that they caught on the grounds.
I see.
Can I also point out that her description is like a tall and bulky man, and Nick's is just tiny and fat? Like, does not match the physical description of who she saw.
I know. So that's the course of events as you describe it.
I have never seen anything to the contrary.
So, if I may just recap. You were having a shower in the bathroom when you heard the sound of glass shattering. Immediately after that, you heard Mr. Potsby scream. That's what you're telling us happened, are you? It's also what you said in your statement.
Of course it is, because that's the truth, Inspector, and nothing but it.
And I would have to say you are a liar, Mrs. Potsby-Mann.
Well, a liar!
Indeed, and there's a certain piece of evidence on the scene that will prove me right.
Well, I am all ears. If this evidence really exists, then I sure would like to see it.
What proves the lie? It's the broken glass.
It's the glass.
It's definitely the memo pad.
These bits of broken glass prove that you're lying to us, Miss Potsby-Mann. Undeniable proof. Oh, this is hogwash. All these little bitty bits of glass prove nothing of the sort.
Would you care to explain, Lizzie? Mrs. Potsby-Mann, exactly what the broken glass reveals.
The timing of the stabbing. His last words, the written in broken glass, you'll see, it was Potsby-Mann.
Only have to look at the broken glass in order to see the events that led to Mr. Potsby's death. What order of events? You claim you heard the window smash first and then your husband scream. But if that were the case, what are all these bits of glass doing on top of the body, eh?
If your statement were true, broken glass should be underneath the corpse.
But they aren't, are they, Miss Potsby-Mann? They're on top, which proves that the window was smashed after the victim was stabbed.
So, it seems you have deliberately given a false statement.
I have done no such thing. Why, I have simply confused matters in my head. I am all torn up about the loss of my dear husband. This simple misunderstanding proves nothing. I retract my statement. I simply cannot remember if I heard the scream or the glass breaking first.
And yet you broke immediately with someone else.
Perhaps I didn't finish reading that and I accidentally touched the screen. Perhaps the outlaw just did something. I don't know what. Oh, you little weasel!
Let's assume for a moment that you were indeed mistaken. That introduces a new complication.
It does? Indeed.
Indeed. Because we know that the door and the window were both locked before the incident occurred. If the culprit didn't break the window, how did he or she get into the flat?
Why, I have no idea. Just what are you trying to say, Inspector?
What I'm trying to say is simple. You can now be sure that your perpetrator of this crime is...
You! It's you, Goldie Potsby-Mann.
It were you, Mrs. Goldie Potsby-Mann. At the time of the attack, the windows and doors of the flat were all locked. The only other way were in smashing the window, but we know that happened after the victim died. With no other
You
men.
read one of my lines, but whatever.
Go ahead, that's yours.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. With no methods of entry available, the only conclusion is that the culprit did not come in from outside.
This is you again.
The person who did this was in the flat from the outside. I'm behind by a few seconds.
I know.
Every time it buffers, it gets longer.
I'm sorry.
The only person who fits that bill, Miss Potsby-Mann, is you.
Am I to understand that you are accusing me of murder because I was in my home the whole time? You ought to understand that. Then I must remind you of something of vital importance that you appear to have overlooked. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's just a little bitty thing called a murder weapon. I hear told that you still have not found it anywhere inside the apartment, which I have never left. If I am to be accused of this crime, why, I would just love to know where I'm supposed to have put it. But,
Indeed. I confess to having been stumped by that conundrum.
well, there you have it. You have not a shred of evidence that I killed my husband.
I mean, we have many evidence besides the murder weapon.
However, we did eventually manage to locate the murder weapon.
Huh? I beg your pardon. Hee. That's right. We know exactly what you used to scare your man.
I did her with a Western accent.
I do declare. Why, that's simply not possible. That's simply not possible.
You didn't dispose of the murder weapon outside of the flat. Well, it's been in there the entire time.
You're starting to rile me, Inspector. Tell me where this murder weapon I'm supposed to have had to use is.
It's in the clock. Right? It's in the clock.
Yeah?
The murder weapon was hidden in the clock. What? Are you quite sure? Sure as eggs and eggs, Sure as eggs are eggs, It were the minute hand of the clock that were used to kill Mr. Potsby. Why, this is hogwash. A man could never be killed on such a thing. Well, oh, that's you.
Well, the shape of the hand matches the victim's wound perfectly.
You haven't got long to wiggle your way out of this one. Forensics are going over it with a fine-tooth comb. Forensics are going over it with a fine-tooth comb as we speak.
The phone just rung.
Speak of the devil.
Hello? The shape of it. Well, it is almost.
You admit it now?
I don't think so. Do you, Inspector?
Proof!
What's the matter?
The results from forensics! They found naught of it! No trace of blood whatsoever!
Really?
Ma, what a terrible shame! Your trump card turned out to be a joker in the end. I do declare, I hate it when that happens.
Because she wiped the blood off.
No.
The blanket.
Forensics would still be able to detect that.
No. I must have missed something.
Forensics would still be able to detect if there was ever blood on something. Even if she wiped it off.
Prof! Can I assume we are finally on the same page now, Inspector? That outlaw, Nix, is responsible for my husband's deaths, and I am no longer under suspicion. If you would just fill out these forms for me with words to that effect. Forms? Forms? Why, my husband's life insurance simply will not pay out without the proper paperwork, Miss Baker. Have you got no shame at all? We're talking about a man's life. Why, you have no idea what you are talking about, Missy. Jack doted on me. He would turn in his grave if he had thought his little pot of gold would not be mine after his death. How do you have the gall to say something like that?
Killing for cash.
There's your secret character.
Not a bad idea.
Prof, are you alright?
But your motives are far, far darker than that. Aren't they, Goldie?
Don't get uppity with me now, Inspector.
Oh, but you enjoy it, don't you? You kill for money, but it's not the cash you're after. It's the kick. Isn't it?
What are you on about, Prof? What's got into you?
I can just imagine it. That little smile creeping onto your lips as you prepared the murder weapon.
I will not fall into your petty trap, Inspector. Need I remind you that you still have not even found this murder weapon of which you speak?
And we never will. Because it no longer exists.
Inspector, I do declare that you have lost your mind. Are you suggesting that the murder weapon just vanished into thin air?
You'd be delighted if that's what we concluded, wouldn't you? But let me put it another way. The weapon that was used to stab Jack Potsby didn't exactly vanish. It melted.
Drip, drip. What? In a furnace or something? Oh, hang on. I think I get it now. I know what happened.
You know what happened?
Something about the cooking pot. Or the bathtub. One of the two.
She was taking a shower, that's why the bathtub was in use. But we did say it was suspicious that strange that they were cooking when they seem to very often get takeout.
The murder weapon must have been melted in this pot.
Oh yes. The weapon that killed Potsby disappeared in this very pot.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I assure you that I was simply making my husband and I some pasta. I'll bet.
Don't mock me! Where's the cutlery? Where are the bowls? The pasta sauce? There's no sign of any preparation of a meal at all. Just the pasta in this pot of boiling water.
I had intended to prepare those things later, but...
By the way, to Kyle Enjoys Games, the man's name is Jack Potsby. So...
I don't think so. I don't mean that the pasta... I don't think the pasta were ever meant for eating at all.
No. The pasta was prepared for the sole purpose of the little disappearing act. Tell me by now you figured out what the murder weapon was, Lucy.
Oh, I'm with you now, Prof. The murder weapon was...
what do you think it was? What's the only thing on this list that could melt?
A knife made of ice.
Mm-hmm. You seem uncertain.
Because that's a really interesting way to dispose of something like that.
Yes, but there's proof for it.
The weapon that used to stab Jack Potsby to death were a knife made of ice. It would have melted to naught in no time at all in a pot of boiling water like that one the pasta were in. Why, anyone with an ounce of horse sense can see that this is just a fiction that you've all concocted. Even if there were a knife of ice like you say. It's gone now, has it not? My hands are clean. You can never prove I had such a weapon in my possession. Well, no, perhaps not, but, Prof?
Yes, he can.
Pardon me, Inspector. Are you back to normal now, Prof?
Sorry, Lucy. Yes, I'm fine now. Thank you.
What are you two whispering about? What are you two whispering about over there?
We're discussing the ice knife. You're of course correct that the knife itself was no more. However, in order to make a knife in the first place, there was a mold. That mold is still on the scene.
One piece of evidence that stuck out to you that we haven't figured out what it's for.
I surely would like to see it.
Lucy, do you know what was used?
I do indeed. Do you know? Knight?
The only thing I could think of was the scrap of card.
Which was slightly damp.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, this is a really cool case.
It were this damp piece of card that were used to mold the shape of the knife. Aye, if you fold it back up along the creases, let's see what you get. Oh, look! A perfect knife shape!
Yes, you lined the mold with cling film or the like. Filled it and put it in the freezer to make your knife. Be able to match the shape of the mold to that of the victim's wound to be certain, of course.
Why, it's nothing more than a coincidence. Anyone can see that. Anyone can see that.
We have more evidence against you. After you stabbed your husband, use a towel to wipe the blood off the knife.
The towel we found on the balcony.
Yes, once you were satisfied you'd removed off the blood, put the icy weapon in the boiling water. Are you absolutely sure you removed every last trace?
I'm sure I do not follow.
In my experience, no one ever manages to remove all the traces of blood from a weapon. If you dissolve the knife that you killed your husband with in the boiling water, you will be able to positively identify the victim's blood when we examine the pot.
Why, you little...
Lucy, my forensics go over the pot for us, will ya?
Straight away, Prof. I spoke with forensics. They're on the case already.
Now we merely need to wait for the results. Are you ready to admit to your crime now, Miss Potsby-Mann?
I have no intention of admitting to anything, Inspector. Even if you can prove that my husband was killed with a knife made of ice, it does not mean that I did it. Oh, no, when you've had it, lass. I have heard nothing, Miss Baker, other than my confidence questioned most unjustly.
Unfortunately for you, there's no logical way in which you are not guilty.
Oh, sorry. The sentence is if you cast your mind back, but I accidentally...
If you cast your mind back, you sure there was no way into the flat when the incident took place. The door and windows were locked. In other words, only somebody who was already inside could have stabbed Mr. Potsby.
Oh, please.
You admitted yourself that you did not leave the flat. Your own words, the apartment which I never left.
No,
Was there another statement you would now like to retract? I was warning that doing so is only likely to make things worse for you in the end, though.
I demand to see my attorney. You cannot continue to question me in this way.
Certainly, Lucy. Make the necessary arrangements, please.
Will do, Prof. Why, to be accused of such a petty little thing. She put up quite a fight, eh?
Yes, she did.
I were in a right tiz when the lads said they found naught on the clock hand. I can tell you.
Don't worry, Lucy. You weren't alone. It's a bit of a gamble as to whether they'll find any traces of blood in the pot with pasta as well.
You're joking, aren't you?
I'm pretty sure she's going to confess now, though.
Pretty sure, eh? Alfindi! She's admitted everything. What a relief!
Sorry, delayed. It seems she was after the man's life insurance.
She told us as much when we were questioning her. Would you believe?
Oh! Well, did you know this? We found out that Potsby won a very large sum of money last year. That's when Mr. Mon came into his life. Hardly what you might call a coincidence.
She was a real gold digger, eh?
It seems Potsby was spending money like water. She were terrified he'd rack up as much debt as the insurance payout, so she had to murder him quickly.
I see. So it was something of a rush job. She no doubt prepared better for her other spouses.
So it's all done and dusted then? Fabulous!
I must say, Al, you don't look very well. Are you alright?
Probably that Jekyll and Hyde moment you had taken it out of you, eh, Prof?
That's a bit of an exaggerated way of describing it, Lucy. I do feel a little under the weather. I think I'll go home early if no one objects.
Are you sure you'll be alright?
It's nothing a bit of sleep won't cure, I'm sure. You close up the office when you leave?
Consider it done. I hope he's alright.
So, it happened again, did it?
Hey, do you know about this then? Do you know then, Florence, about the Prof? Whatever's it all about, eh?
Calm down, Lucy. I don't really know all that much about it. But you're safe as long as there's a criminal present.
You don't hear that every day.
What I mean is, the other Al is only interested in criminals. You won't come to any harm.
So he's got some kind of vendetta against all other criminals, somewhat?
Actually, from what I've seen of him, I'd say it's quite the opposite.
can't help liking them. All the more so, the more atrocious they are. I don't like the sound of that. There's really no cause for alarm. Like I said, as long as there's a criminal present, you're perfectly safe. But what happens if he shows up when it's just the two of us, though? If it were me, I'd rip out my drip and run like the wind. I think I'll come with my plimsolls tomorrow.
I can't remember if that's it. What'd you think of your first case, Knight?
I was not expecting a little plot twist at the end, I will admit.
Like I said, some things get interesting. What'd you think of your secret character to write?
That's the thing that caught me off guard the most. I was not expecting some crazy Jekyll and Hyde thing.
There's another reason that I thought you'd really like voicing this character, and it was that moment right there.
I'm assuming there are more moments like that.
Oh, heck yes. That's the first time you see the other side of the Prof. Which actually, he gets an official kind of name by Lucy, but I don't want to spoil what the name is because I find it really amusing. But that other side of Prof is a huge thing for me personally, because that was something that really got my interest in, oh, it's just a normal detective game, to, oh, there's something going on with this guy. I hope people liked that case. Yeah. Knight, are you going to continue this series with me, or would you like to stop?
I'd certainly continue it.
Okay, well, you guys heard it here, guys. I guess the next time I play this, I will be playing with Knight, and probably with a better audio thing then. So we will end here. Thank you so much. Knight, anything you want to say?
Don't do crimes. Always get caught.
I mean, yeah, I'd say it's pretty accurate. Okay.